Hello everybody, today is a very special, exciting day. I have Bellicor, and I am going to be building him so you can all see what an amazing model he is. I have Broken Realms Bellicor with me. I'm not going to be showing it off, don't want to get in any trouble aside from, this. But looked at his stats for Age of Sigmar. They're available online. Warhammer Community previewed them for free. Let's get this guy out of the box. And on the mat, let's find a good starting spot for these instructions. Looks like 100 millimeter base, maybe a 80 mil. We don't need to measure that right now. Oh, this is exciting. But what I'm excited about for the Age of Sigmar book is the Legions of the First Prince, which is a Bellicor army that is only Chaos Demons. Let's see, centered it up. Nice. So Age of Sigmar, undivided, only Chaos Demons. That's fancy. The instructions look like they start us out with the base and... Whoa! Oh! Wow, it's a dense sprue. Look at all those chains. Jeez. I'm gonna have to decide if I want to keep those chains on or not. Looks like we've got some 40k specific chains here. I wonder if any Age of Sigmar specific. Probably a similar chain. We'll look at those a little closer. Yeah, there's a Primaris skull. Come on, focus in. It's been a while. Primaris helmet. This is just cool. Okay. Let's get to it. So far, looking at these instructions, it wants us to glue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 together to make the base. I love it. I'll start out with 1, 2, and 3. Absolutely love when it's easy and simple like that. Instead of, glue 42 and 6 together. Of course, finding them on the sprue is still just as difficult as ever. Not to say it's really hard, it's just a tiny little number that you really have to see in the right light. I don't know if I had these clippers. These are, last video I did, it's been a long time. I think it was... Geez, maybe Christmas or my birthday that my wife got these for me. They're pretty swell. I like them a lot. Grease them once or twice and you're good to go. Number 3. Let's see here. Get these apart. I'm sorry about any of the background sound. I do need to keep a little desk fan on because it gets pretty warm in here. Alright, let's get this clipped up. And while I clip these, I'm going to go over a few of the Legion of the First Prince rules. So, here's a unique one. Well, I guess I should go over the basics. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained lately. Aren't we all? Alright, so to make this army, you can only include units with the Chaos and Demon keyword. So you can't have anything that isn't a demon. You can't have anything that's not Chaos. I'm not 100% sure on Skaven. I know they have the Nurgle keyword. Excuse me. And I know some of them have the demon keyword. But I'm unsure if any of them have the Nurgle or Chaos and demon keyword. This cleans up pretty easy. It's been a while since I worked with Games Workshop resin. I have been 3D printing a lot. I'll probably talk about that a little bit. But here's what you get for bringing Bellicor and a whole bunch of Chaos Demons. Because you lose out on Fate Dice, Blood Tithe points, the Maggot can wheel, whatever Slanesh does now, Pain, Depravity points. That's it. There we go. Did I miss a spot? Yeah, I missed a spot. Let's get that cleaned out. There we go. Okay, so you can re-roll hit rolls for attacks made by Be'lakor if he's within 18 of a unit of Bloodletters, a unit of Plague Bearers, a unit of Horrors of Tzeentch, and a unit of Demonettes. Now this isn't keyword, it is simply typed out. So Horrors of Tzeentch has to be the actual horrors. Plague Bearers need to be legit Plague Bearers. You can't do Plague Drones. It'd be cool if that got an errata, but I'm willing to bet it won't. Because generally when it's something like this that gets an errata, they've got it somewhere else bolded for a little hint. But also, you never know. Maybe the community just kind of tells them to change it enough, and they do. Let's get this scooted off to the side. Rerolling hit rolls is pretty nice, considering he hits on 3s. I know that's pretty dang legit for Age of Sigmar, but in 40k, that's a chump's fighting skill. Oh. Alright, let's see here. It's actually a little tricky to tell how it goes on. It's steps. So what I'm going to suggest is do it from the back. I'm trying to make sure I get a nice seam, and I see right here I don't, because I missed a little spot. It's actually pretty hard to tell where the clip spots are. I can't remember what those things are called. With how jagged this scenery is. It's really nice scenery. That's better. Let's see if we get some glue on this. Oh, Games Workshop glue. Oh, geez. How I've missed you. Oh, cat hair is all over it. There we go. Maybe. Yeah. So far, Be'lakor getting to reroll hits of 1 is kind of crummy, because you have to bring at least one of each. But, in addition, before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to Be'lakor, pick one friendly unit within 9 of him from one of the following war scrolls, and it lists out those 4 again, the 4 troops of the gods. On a 4-up, that wound or mortal wound is allocated to that unit instead. Okay. That's pretty insane. So if you got Be'lakor, and then I'm just going to use this old crummy, I don't know if you can see that, pewter Slaanesh thing, call it a demonette. He basically has a 4-up invul to just pass off wounds within 9. 9 is big. That's a really big range for that ability. So he's going to pass off half the damage he takes. And with how many wounds? 14 wounds? It's pretty substantial. That'll mean, what, you need to average 28 wounds to kill him? What else does he have? Let's see, the Cursed Disguise. At the end of the Battle Shock phase, if Be'lakor is your general and on the battlefield, roll for each friendly unit on the battlefield from the following. And then again, it lists off those 4 core troop choices from the other gods. I'm going to inspect this one pretty closely. And on a 3-up, you can return D3 slain models to that unit. But if it's a Horrors unit, and here it is keyworded, because Horrors of Tzeentch, I think, includes several things for Age of Sigmar, but if it's a Horrors keyword unit, you only return 1. It's been ages since I looked at anything Tzeentch in Age of Sigmar, but I've been getting back into it. Last week I played my Caradron against Maggotkin, and we forgot so many rules. We didn't even know what command points did. We had a good time, and I'm looking forward to it again soon. And I think I'm going to try to wrangle up some minis and try a Be'lakor list. So I'll have to see if I can get my hand on some horrors. I think you need quite a few. If anyone could comment on what exactly I gotta go get to run a unit of horrors properly in Age of Sigmar, I would appreciate it. I think I have the Zeech start collecting hidden away on a shelf somewhere. Moving on. Oh, so yeah, at the end of the Battle Shock phase, if you have one Plague Bearer alive, on a 3-up you get D3 more. That's pretty good, especially considering they can just soak up damage for him. Pretty good indeed. What use is having the damage soak if everyone who soaks the damage dies? I'm going to set this down over to the side. Get the next pieces 4 and 5. Let's see here. So far this kit is beautiful. Oh, it's just so nice. That's 7. That's 8. Here we go. 5. Looks like they've got human and orc skulls strewn on the base. I gotta say, humans and orcs and demons are the only thing. Let's see, I don't know. I'm trying a new camera. New phone. There's the orc. Are the only things that are really cross games. It used to be just demons and orcs, kinda. And always humans. I mean, humans are in everything. Boring ass humans. Okay, so Infernal Realm Walkers. What is this? You can roll a dice each time you allocate a wound to a, what's that called? Legion of the First Prince. Oh, yeah, anything with Legion of the First Prince. They all have a 6-up, ignore wounds or mortal wounds. So I think there's an errata about how that works with something like Plague Bearers that already has a 5-up. I'll have to dig into that a little. Let's see. This is 4. Let's flip it again. There's just so much going on this thing. Look at that. I completely missed a chunk. Jeez. Space is so busy. Oh. That's because... oh man, I'm losing it. It's these guys. I'm completely losing it. This looks like piece 4. Bam. It fits. That is 4. I'm going to glue that in. So your pink horrors, your bloodthirsters, every demon of chaos has a 6-up feel no pain. Not the greatest. Personally, I've never really liked the 6-up. I never really liked fishing for 6s when you need a 6 to do something. When a 6 is something cool and fun, okay, yeah, how do you define cool and fun? When it's something that isn't needed, like if you fail that 6-up, it's not the end of the world. Take Space Wolves in 40k, I have a 6-up to hit, they're unmodified 6 of hits and additional attack. That's cool. If I don't get any 6s, I'm not going to be crying about it. It's basically the old Death the False Emperor. When I played Necrons, almost always wounding everything on 6s. You know, you glance on 6s, you wound on 6s. That was a bit boring because nothing mattered except those 6s. And if I didn't get a 6, it didn't matter at all. I know it can be really clutch when you roll one, but I don't think a 6-up can be relied on. A 5-up, yeah, probably. But a 6-up, it's nice. And then, here's a cool one, Unyielding Legions. When is this done? This is at the end of your movement phase. Let's get some glue on this. I'm looking at the book off to the side, sorry. At the end of your movement phase, one friendly Legion of the First Prince hero can attempt to summon. So you roll 3d6, and on a 10-up you get 10 Bloodletters, 5 Horrors, 10 Plague Bearers, 10 Demonettes, or if it's Bellicor, 6 Furies. He can choose any. So if it's Khorne, they can summon Bloodletters, Zeech, Horrors, so on and so forth. Bellicor, however, can summon any of them or 6 Furies. And I have no idea what Furies are like in Age of Sigmar. I know in 40k they're wet napkins that are fast and useful for objectives. The new 9th edition has really changed up what units have a purpose. It's crazy to see demon players praising beasts for the first time in, oh my goodness, so long. I probably should have... Oh. Probably shouldn't have put 4 on there. It's kind of one of those spots that's not exactly straightforward. It just shows 3 pieces all connecting together in the instructions, but that is already looking swell. That is just cool. Dang. I bet we are going to see a lot of models on Bellacor's base. Just all sorts of different things, from Age of Sigmar to 40k, big stuff, little stuff, stuff as big as your head. Who knows? Let's see here. The summoned unit must be set up wholly within 12 of the hero, and more than 9 from any enemy unit. If the unmodified roll included a double, the hero suffers a mortal wound. If it's a triple, D3 mortal wounds. So, slight risk. A double on 3D dice is moderate, I guess, but a triple on 3 dice is very rare. So I wouldn't worry too much about taking D3 mortal wounds. And it is, again, another source for keeping Be'lakor alive. At the end of every move, he can pop out some extra wounds to just toss stuff on. Kind of bodyguard. I feel like that's been coming up a lot in 40k and Age of Sigmar, as these bodyguard rules to protect big things, instead of rules that we see on Gaskell, Tharaka, and Marathi, the big snake lady, and Nightbringer, where it's just, sorry, you can't hurt me anymore this phase, or this turn, or anything. I think that GW realized that kind of sucks to play against. Because you end up wasting so much. Like, if my Ironclad unloads on you and I get lucky and deal 6 damage, you take 3, whatever, and that's it. And everything else is wasted. Sure, you could split fire, but man, it's rough. It's hard to predict. And also, I don't think it makes too much sense. It's kind of video game logic. You know, you hit the boss enough and the cutscene starts. Oh, you gotta wait. Let's see, which of these would be best to go on first? I think this one would be best on first. It kind of goes in and spins up because there's this lip right here. Okay, where do we stop putting the glue on? Right here. But with a bodyguard rule, let's look at the actual rule that is just called bodyguard. It's in a few places in 40k where you can't target me if I've got bodyguard nearby. You can't target my hero, sorry. It's really fun. It's for Death Shroud Terminators and a few other things. I think Ultramarines have one. I can't say others. I wouldn't be surprised if like Hiveguard got it. Might be too strong though, because a Hive Tyrant is kind of crazy. Maybe a similar way to Be'lakor. But you know, now if you unload, if like a Bloodthirster goes ham on Be'lakor, he's not just going to be like, okay, I got 1/6, I'm done. The rest of these mortal wounds and wounds are wasted. Like if he fought Snake Lady, if that's still a thing, Snake Lady last edition. Now he just goes insane on Be'lakor, does tons of damage, and Be'lakor is going to ignore half of it from his bodyguard thingy. What's it called again? First Damned Prince. That's weird. From his first Damned Prince ability, if you're running him in the Legions of First Prince. But all that damage is going to spill over and hit another unit, which is great. So I don't feel like I wasted my Bloodthirster or anything really, because I still did damage to something. And in a way, those extra units, those bodyguard units, are part of him. And you can either try to whoop them out of the 9-inch range, which I think any savvy player is going to have 2 or 3 units within that 9-inch range. I just wonder what the most popular option will be. I have a hard time thinking demonettes or bloodletters, but horrors of Zeech, splitting out, making more, plague bearers with their extra durability. Oh yeah, this thing's coming together real nice. Just set that down. Real nice. Do I have any minis to plop on that? Not really. Look at that. Gorgeous. Definitely some room for something. So that's the first page. And now we get to choose whether to build whether to place one of the 2 dead guys. $20 says you are going to see dead Primaris lieutenants and dead chaos guys all over. Mini swap, eBay, you name it, they'll be there. Let's see if I can find... We will start with the Primaris dude because he's right here. And while I will be running Be'lakor in Age of Sigmar, 40k is my primary game. And this mini is just too cool to not put on his base. And I love dead Space Marines. I can never get enough of them. I put them all over all my Death Guard stuff. Man, that's cool. And then, I bet 2 weeks from now, you'll see replicas of this guy ready to be 3D printed. Though, not, exact, but once those 3D printers get a good look at it, they'll be able to make a replica. And then you'll have some real nice basing material. Let's see, anywhere else I'm missing? Let's see, so... Those are the only abilities for the army. And I'm really out of the Age of Sigmar game, so I'm not sure how good that seems. Really, the Karajan Overlord doesn't really have like a army-wide thing, I guess? Aether Gold? Excuse me. So... check something. He has the undivided keyword. I also don't know how that's going to affect army building. If you could bring him in another army, or say Hedonites, or if it's just you have to have this book, which the writing is on the wall. Games Workshop just did this with 9th edition. The Broken Realms books are Psychic Awakening for Age of Sigmar, and Dollars to Donut says we will get 1 or 2 more Broken Realms until all the armies get their little upgrades, and then 6 months later we're going to be getting 3.0, just like 40k did with 9th edition. Oh, where's his little bum shoulder go? What am I looking for here? 20. Excuse me. Here's where it starts to become pain. 20's on a different sprue. Oh yeah, little claw marks all over it. Nice little servo skull to go next. I am not going to glue these on because I'm going to airbrush them. My favorite legion to beat up on is the Blood Angels, so I'll be making a nice little dead Blood Angel. I don't know if it really shows. Let me see if I can get closer. There's definitely a weird symbol right there. I like that he's not a specific legion though. But I can't tell what that's supposed to be. Almost looks Tau. And let's get that Chaos Warrior out of here. It is kind of strange to me that it's a Chaos Warrior and not Sigmarite. I gotta say, I'm not 100% familiar with Bellacor's lore in Sigmar. I just assumed it'd be parallel to 40k, where he's the first Demon Prince, and the other Chaos Gods kind of shun him because of his power. I don't know why he's going around whooping on normal Slaves to Darkness Chaos Warriors, but not Chaos Space Marines, so that's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to reading this book. As difficult as these giant books are to read, I'd be so happy if you could get, like, here's the, let me show you. Alright, this is all lore that I want to read. This is rules. I want to read this, but it's really hard to read this in any relaxed setting. Like, you can't lie down in bed easily and read this book. It's huge. Let's get back to his rules. Okay. And then aside from that, we've got spell lore, command traits, and artifacts. After I get this guy together, I'll go over those. Number 14, I believe I did see over here, and 15. I got the veins on this dude and everything. I am excited. Here we go. The history of Be'lakor in 40k is pretty cool. You know, he's never been... Well, I guess he always has been a very useful mini. And he was one of the longest running pewters, and he was really hard to find for a while there in 5th edition, because he was like pseudo discontinued. You had to get a fantasy model. That was kind of how demons were. They were just demons. They didn't say 40k and they didn't say fantasy. It just said Games Workshop demons. You know, going into stores and finding that was a hassle, but getting him online was always an option. So he was really cool in 5th edition. Oh man, am I doing this right? Yeah, I am. 6th edition, he was a bad dude because he knew invisibility, which he continued to know, I think, in 7th edition. In 5th edition, he was great just because he hit like a truck. He was just really powerful. And then he continued to stay pretty dang powerful, but also no really useful spells. What am I even doing here? Yeah, First Instinct was right. There we go. Oh, Be'lakor hurt me. Brr. That's pretty cool. Set him aside too with all of his little bits. Okay, so the next thing is chains on the base. Let's see how that works. But then in 8th, he kind of fell off the map a little bit. Oh, and in 7th, there was the Infernal Tetrad, where it was just bring a bundle of Demon Princes, and people would run 4 Demon Princes and Be'lakor, and they just fly around messing everything up. It was great. That was definitely one of my favorite times to be a Chaos Demon player, because it felt kind of thematic. Oh wow, these are Games Workshop showing us they like to stick it to the recasters and the 3D printers again with the most delicate, tiny bits of plastic. It is undeniable that they are top dog in the plastic game. I think I've mentioned several times before that I've done commissions with recasts, and good lord, looking at something this tiny would just crumble. So here's the decision is... Oh man. Oh, this is such a hard spot to get that little... I mean, it's a rock, so no one's going to notice that extra little bit, but this one's on a mold, or a glue spot. Keep this separate and glue it on its own, or pop it right here where it goes and mask off and airbrush if needed. Or, you know, I think that's going to be fine to put on. And I can, yeah, either mask it, because I'll airbrush all the rocks first and detail them. And then I can go back and manually, or brush paint all this little bit. Whoa, slippery. This piece doesn't really set in. Like this one's a really snug fit. And 10. Where are you? Here we go. So, back to the Age of Sigmar rules for Legion of the First Prince. There is one spell. That spell, let me grab this book. The Master's Command. It's a casting value of 7. Pick one friendly Legion of the First Prince, wholly within 12 and visible. Until the end of the battle, if a model from that unit is slain by an attack with a melee weapon, it can fight before it's removed from play. Wow. Okay. That's really powerful. In, you know, my head. I'm thinking big hitters, big blobs, anything huge, bloodthirsters, Be'lakor himself, great unclean ones, anything. It's your turn. You're unsure what's going to happen next turn. And you want a little insurance, maybe. Maybe you're about to do a little suicide bomb with someone. Throw that insensate rage bloodthirster straight up into a big horde. You know it'll probably die. You swing with it first. It does some damage. Then they kill it, and oh, it gets to attack again. That is always useful. That's a wonderful spell. It goes off on an 7, which isn't the best, but I wonder if we can get some shenanigans or toss that on something like a Lord of Change to get bonuses to cast. Looks like we just got a whole bunch of human skulls. And that is the base. Oh wait, there's one more little guy. I spoke too soon. Now here's a concern of mine that I'm not so sure about. And it happened with Psychic Awakening, was book bloat. You've probably heard that term. It's where you have... Hold on. Oh, gotta pause and let my cat in. I'm back. Sorry about that. I worry that if I run this, I'm going to need Maggotkin of Nurgle, Hedonites of Slaanesh, Blades of Khorne, whatever this each one is called, and the Shattered Realms book to, you know, run it properly if I was going to take it to a tournament or something. So this little guy just kind of slides in right here. There we go. And I'm going to leave that separate so that I can do a nice metal effect on it without worrying about the base. And I guess that really depends on how it lets you take your spells. So I guess that goes down to every war scroll. The command traits, as we get onto actual Be'lakor proper. And cool thing is we're still going 21, 22. Oh, it does skip. There's no 23. Just straight to 24. Oh, Games Workshop, what have you done? I think we already used 23. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. Getting all these big chunks of gates of plastic. Goodness gracious. The size of that thing. The first one, command trait. You pick this general to summon a unit using the Unyielding Legions. You get +1 to that roll. And the Unyielding Legions is 3d6, making a 10. Gives you a tiny unit of troops. Which I know Age of Sigmar just has bonkers amounts of potential summons. But I know they've toned it down a little because Slanesh was out of hand. Add 1 for the Infernal Realm Walker battle trait made for friendly Legion of First Print units within 8 inches of this general. Oh, so Infernal Realm Walker battle trait is the ignore damage. So that's a good one. Wow. Now it's units wholly within 8. That's a big chunk. You could get a few things. Ooh, Monster Mash. You get Bellicor and a few greater demons running around wholly within 8, all just flying around messing stuff up. All those greater demons, 5 up as long as you spend that command point. And then reroll charge rolls for friendly guys when they are wholly within 12. It's pretty useful. I gotta say, the 5 up ignore damage is definitely a big winner for me. I don't know if Bellicor himself can take those, but consider Bellicor. Hold on, what's his save like? Let's see here. 4 up save. Four up invulnerable save. It cannot be changed. So Bellicor halves damage taken, right? Just 4 up, damage doesn't go through. Then, if you've got one of those little troop units nearby, after the well, no, he'd have a 5 up, so a third of that damage would be taken. Well, a third of that damage would be ignored. And then you've got the first Damned Prince ability, where half of that remaining damage, those wounds and mortal wounds, would go to a nearby demon troop unit. So rough math, let's say someone hits him for 20 damage, enough attacks, 20 single hit wounds, like freaking what are their names? Stupid Skaven. Plague Monks. A bunch of really angry Plague Monks run up on Bellicor and manage to get 20 successful wounds. I know, it's unheard of, they're Plague Monks. But he'll save half of them, down to 10. Still, that's a lot of damage. Ignore about a third of them from his 5 up command ability. So now it's 6, and then if he's got a unit of Plague Bearers nearby, half of them, statistically of course, will go to those Plague Bearers. So now he's only taken, what, like 3 or 4 damage? That is pretty cool. And of course, math and theory hammer is fun and all, but sometimes he'll just whiff and die horribly to Carriage on Overlords on turn 1. Be really hard, but you know, I'm pretty bad at rolling dice. I don't know about all of you. Had some Death Shroud Terminators take 4 or 5 AP1 1 damage wounds, and I lost 2 of them because one had already taken a wound. I just failed every single 3 up save. It was rough. So, you know, +1 to summon's kind of nice, but that's, when does that go off? At the end of the movement phase. So that's not going to happen too often. And if they double turn you and you don't get to do it, or if you double turn, it could be extra nice. But personally, the reroll charges, yeah, whatever. But +1 to ignore damage is great. Throw that on Bellicor, make him a tank. And then the only thing you got to watch out for is fighting another Bellicor and him using his once per game ability on you, where you just don't get to do anything. Which is the use at the start of any, honestly, battle round. Let me check that. Once per battle at the start of the enemy hero phase. And then in every phase, whenever they try to do, well, you choose a hero. Excuse me. And whenever they try to do pretty much anything, they have to roll a die, and on a 3 up, they don't get to do it. No, I'm sorry, 1 unit. So if they've got a big old Death Star, you can shut them down. Good chance of it, too. It's dirty. I talk about his 40k rules, but we haven't seen all of them. We have no idea what's happening for 40k, and Warhammer community just said we're not going to see any new releases for a few weeks, so we've got some waiting to do. I'd wager that we won't see Be'lakor proper until Chaos Space Marines or Chaos Demons get a book. And hopefully soon. That'd be great. Let's get some bits clipped. Oh man, what is going on here? 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. Gotta say, I don't see that very often when building. I'm guessing it's telling us to do this one, that one, and then this one. So that is what I will attempt. Let's get those tail bits. 52. But Be'lakor has always been a tiny mini. I think way back in the day he wasn't named Be'lakor, he was just a demon prince, but I could be horribly mistaken. And then we got a Chaos Space Marines demon prince before we had any demon princes, because Chaos Space Marines existed for a lot more than proper Chaos Demons. They just weren't a thing until I think 5th edition. The rose-tinted goggles of back then. So artifacts. 4-fold blade. Pick one of the bear's melee weapon. If an unmodified hit roll for an attack is made with that weapon, is 5+. It inflicts D3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. Do not roll for a save roll. So immediately my mind went to like Bloodthirster of Instant Rage. Make his weapon bigger and stronger, but the attack sequence ending means you don't want it on him, because all of his damage comes from hit rolls of 6s. I mean, he's a truck, but that 6 to wound is insanely awesome. And you probably won't ever want to rely on that. But it's cool. It does AoE mortal wounds. And I'm crossing my fingers that in 40k he gets something similar. Obviously toned down a little, because 40k isn't quite as serious as Age of Sigmar when it comes to messing stuff up. Anything honestly with just a bunch of attacks. I don't even know where to start with that, but yeah, throw it on a hero with a ton of attacks, obviously. Next is Armor of the Pact. You can reroll save rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target the bearer. If you could put it on Be'lakor. Oh, that'd be disgusting. Again, it's been so long since both I played Age of Sigmar and I used a named character that I gotta double check if they have the rule where they can't take artifacts and whatnot. If they can, Be'lakor is making out to be dumb durable. A 4-up rerollable save against everything but mortal wounds, followed by a 5-up ignore damage, followed by a 4-up passing it off. Ugh. Jeez. But I'm going to assume he can't take that, so really just throw it on whoever you want. But that's a pretty good one. Rerolling armor saves is great. Just fantastic. What's up there? And lastly is the Saint Skin Banner. Subtract 1 from bravery characteristic of enemies while they're within 9. That's okay. I don't know what kind of bravery shenanigans they have going on in other units, so I'll just say that's okay. Let's see, I mean... wait a second. Here we go. If an enemy unit fails a battle shock test when it's within 12 of Be'lakor, you can heal D3 wounds. So that's not too bad. Another way to make Be'lakor super tanky. He also has a way to make enemies -1 to wound. And just in general, he is very durable. Very, very durable. And can put out a good chunk of damage. Maybe. I don't think he's Gotrek level of scary. If you've ever seen Gotrek on the table, he is insane, but he's pretty cool. Whew, a lot of talking. Whoa. Oh man, he's not looking that big right now, but I know wings add so much. It's crazy how much wings can add. Look at like Mortarion, who's a monster of a miniature before the wings. You can throw the wings on him and it just adds to it. Well, Be'lakor, I'm guessing, is going to still be a little small compared to Keepers of Secrets and Lord of Change, Great and Clean Ones, but his wings are just massive. Oh man, it's going to have me jump back and forth, isn't it? So I need 34, 33, 34, 33 through 36. That's so much easier to say. So we got one of them. Big old... Oh, I love the armor he's got. It's just so cool. And 33... I think it's this guy. 35, 36. Great. Be'lakor is straight up jacked. This dude is going to make a bloodthirst to go back to the gym. So I have 3 Great and Clean Ones, a Bloodthirster, and a Lord of Change. I would very much love to run a Monster Mash list, and I think Be'lakor is a good way to do it. There's not really an undivided demons list or army in Age of Sigmar. There's obviously just running core chaos, or just a chaos army. Again, no idea how useful that is, but... And there's also no reason to run all 4 greater demons aside from awesome, but now we do have a complete run whatever you want unaligned chaos demons pseudo little baby supplement army, and I like that. I've been, I think it's mostly 2020 is doing, and coronavirus, just becoming so much more relaxed and casual with tabletop gaming. I used to go to the local game store every Tuesday, because that was Warhammer 40k nights, and I'd just kind of hang out and loiter until someone else showed up and do a pickup game. Never knew what I was getting into. Some days it'd be great, I'd make a new friend, but more often than not it'd be a kind of almost forgettable experience where you go in, you play someone, you get some feedback, you just have a time. But then there were also the risks that you'd play someone who's just horrible, or you'd be in the shop, you'd see someone you really don't like, they'd walk in, and you'd know they asked you to play. Oh! But really, it's weird. It's like I don't want the stress of meeting someone new. I only get out to play once a month or so, and I'd rather do what I really want, which isn't playing a tactical game as much as it is playing a narrative game. And Crusade has been crazy fun. I really love Crusade. And honestly, it's kind of turned me on to power level list building, which is, if you play Age of Sigmar, you already know it's building like Age of Sigmar, but for 40k. Just here, it's this much for the min size, and it goes up. And if you ever hear it talked about with 40k players, you've probably heard broken and overpowered and all sorts of different things thrown around by people who refuse to try it. I knew a lot of people who scoffed at the Games Workshop Apocalypse game, which is probably a big reason it fell, aside from, it required massive collections, was huge box, had a lot of little issues. they did not balance that at all. Some things were just dumb, broken good, to where it's, why wouldn't you take them? Which, I don't know if it's coincidence, but a lot of those dumb, broken good things are pretty terrible in 40k, like Blood Crushers. But they refused to play it because they thought it was dumb, and they never gave it a shot. And I've managed to get a few of my friends to try power level and just say, hey, we're going to try Crusade, we're going to use power level, we'll do 2 or 3 games, and if you don't like it, we'll go back to just doing matched play with those missions and the secondaries. And most of them have really enjoyed it. And I think the simplicity of army building and not worrying about secondaries and really not worrying about winning, because if you haven't played it, in Crusade there's 2 objectives, which just like in 40k there's primary, secondary. With Crusade there's the mission objective, and then there's your agendas that you have chosen in a similar fashion to secondaries. The agendas will reward experience to whatever unit completes them, where the mission can reward either experience to something you choose, or a fancy relic, or just tons of stuff. But more often than not, I find myself focusing on agendas, because if this character that I've kit bashed up completes the agenda, they get experience, and when they get chunks of experience, they get upgrades, and they start to form kind of a narrative, a story, a legacy, and it's so cool. And they've really gone above and beyond with it. I feel like each book that comes out is just more and more rewarded in the Crusade games, and I love that. Oh. I have a plan for a Crusade character in Crusade Forced, where for Death Guard, I'm going to convert a Chaos Lord, and he is not going to be a big, awesome baddie. Not at all. He is going to be a lead from the back, Skeletor kind of dude. 2 dumb plans, send his guys in. I used to play Renegades and Heretics, and that was basically all their HQs did. Is, you know, it's like a Imperial Guard one, except for he's cackling and maniacal and silly. Manic. Send them to their deaths so they can live another day. But also with that, I want to see if I can ascend someone to Demon Prince or Spawn Hood, which is just so cool. I know there used to be a stratagem for it, but if I remember right, that stratagem required you to have reserve points or something, and it just never really worked. Just the amount of effort that went into planning for it, where with Crusade it's just, hey, I'm going to try to turn this guy into a Demon Prince right now. Okay. Go for it. Oh no. I missed a spot. 29. That's what I get for just zoning out about Crusade. Age of Sigmar has the Path to Glory, and I have to admit I've never tried it, but I've always wanted to. But a lot less people I know play Path to Glory. The one thing it does have that I'm very excited to try out is, whoa, that's a lot of glue. Triumph and Treachery, which was an old way to play fantasy. There we go. Where it was multiplayer. So you'd get a bunch of people, and at the beginning of each phase, you'd choose a new opponent. And you could only do stuff against them. And yeah, at times there'd be beating up. If you're familiar with Commander in Magic, it's kind of like that for Age of Sigmar, where it's just everyone goes ham on each other. What the what? And just like in Commander, everyone can easily just beat up on someone, and that person's out real quick, or they spread the damage out, try to build up what they've got. So there's no way to protect you from just being nuked before you get your turn. But here's where it's cool. At least it was in fantasy. the turns weren't static, just like Age of Sigmar. Everyone would roll a d6 at the beginning, and I think highest would go first, lowest would go last. So you could do a double turn in old fantasy battles, just like you can in Age of Sigmar. So that's not anything new. So then in your hero phase, you'd say, I'm choosing so-and-so as an enemy, and all your hero phase stuff would only affect them. You couldn't cast a spell on someone that you're not targeting. Also, everyone you didn't target would have a chance to generate a currency that I can't remember what would do. I do remember you would kind of gamble with it. Like, say, hey, I'll give you 30 of my currency if you promise not to target me in your shooting phase. And look at this bad dude. So cool. And having played Age Sigmar and 40k, Sigmar is so much more chaotic. So much more happens. It's bonkers crazy. One thing I don't know how it would go down is combat. I guess I don't know. So I think the General's Handbook 2017 had Triumph and Treachery for Age of Sigmar, and I'm going to hunt that down. Oh no, I ran into the issue if you don't let a big glue job dry, it just kind of gets squishy. So I'm going to set him aside, turn the page, and it looks like I get to build a very complicated arm. Let's get to it. Bellicor has a lot of these little spikes all over, and instead of them being just spikes on the mini, I wish I had the old one to show off in comparison, they're actually busting through these armor plates. So yeah, I'd really like to get my hands on that so I could arrange a, oh no, big Triumph and Treachery. I've got a few friends interested. I'm excited. So excited. Pure chaos. Let's see if I can get, that was back in the day of digital books, so maybe I'll get lucky. Whoa. Oh, there's so many little tiny... Old cheater pig move. When you're working with tiny stuff, flip a base, toss them in the base. So we do get a cool little effect with the pain in the butt it is to put all this on. And that is that we actually do have spikes under the armor plates jutting through instead of just the armor plates having spikes. And that was how the old Bellicor model was. He did have a ton of little spikes. Not like... He had a ton of spikes for his era. He was a mini before his time. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna need tweezers. Tweezers. There we go. Bam. So yeah, we do get a kind of cool little effect. I'll let those dry a bit, and now I need the rest of his arm. Man, it's already been an hour. Time flies when I'm building. Usually, watching a battle report, on the clock at work, because, I mean, really, I don't care about my job anymore. Yeah, if anyone watching needs a remote IT guy, I am very passionate about problem solving and fixing. It's just my company's a donk. And I know saying that it's not very good for interviews, but yeah, hit me up. That'd be great. I am really digging working at home. It is so much more relaxing, so much easier to concentrate. And I know any day now they're gonna call us all back in And between you, me, and the rest of the internet, ooh, Rona's gonna go around that office a third time. Huh. What do I have? Two of the... Oh, there's two ways to have him point. You can have him point up or kind of down. Who's texted me? So I'm going to have him point straight forward, whoa, instead of like down like that. So that is why there are two of those. Rebellicore face. Still such a cool mini. Where was I? I need piece 42. Paging piece 42. 37. It's right here. Oh, man. Little tiny bits of leather. This guy's going to take a long time to paint, but he's going to be worth it. Actually was going to go to the Dallas Open, which I think is this weekend. If you're going, that's awesome. You're watching a video by the guy who designed the trophies. Well, didn't design them, I printed them and painted them. So if you really hate how they look, you know who to complain to. Don't complain to the organizers, complain to me. But, also back on my diet, I don't know if you can tell from my fingers, but I'm chunky. I am tired all the time and don't really want to go to a big Warhammer tournament. What I was planning on running, though, was the Mastodon Pus Bus. And that is where you get a Mastodon transport and you fill it with as much plague and pestilence from Death Guard as you possibly can. It is not a great list. It's a gimmick list. And I haven't tried it in 9th yet, but in 8th it was so much fun. Just drive on up, get out, spread out. Probably take the secondaries of... We'll hold the center, and... like I said, I haven't played 40k matched play in quite a while. And I used to be really into it. I went to tournaments. I went to the Games Workshop tournament in Grapevine. I didn't place, I think I got 13th, but I did get sportsmanship and Knight of the Inner Circle. And I used to like that stuff. Now I'm just not sure. Maybe it's age. I'm 35 now. My life's half over. Or I don't know. I'd rather get into history or smoking meats. And I do have a smoker. Or smoking other stuff. It's 420 after all. Bad joke from a middle-aged man. Shit. Hold on. Throw it. I'm old. It sucks. So is life. Whatever. I got Be'lakor, so I'm good for now. Oh no. I got up and walked away while he was drying, and I got a little gap now. It's kind of a big gap, honestly. Jeez. That'll teach me. A big mold line? You know, up until now, I hadn't noticed any mold lines. It's kind of hard to tell if it's a mold line or a vein. Insert dick joke into comments. Call back to his first pose where he's just saying, "You, I'm coming for you." And now Set him up on his stand. Sword arm. Oh. Yeah, sword arm. So it looks like we're going to have a whole spare left arm. Be pretty swell for converting your own demon princess. Sorry about all the little jagged stops and interruptions. One of my cats is being very needy. He's a good kitty. Oh, that's a terrible place for a gate. Look at this. It's right on the bottom of his hand. Awful. Hey, Moss. Oof, it's a big one too. I guess that's a spot no one's really gonna see. And we'll clean up okay. Also a little better than on the blade. With these big swords, you don't really have an option. This is a pretty sword. His old weapon didn't have anything fancy. It was just like, hey, here's a sword. No, wait, did it? Man. I can't really look that up. My keyboard's loud. I'm lost. Sorry, petting the cat. Here, have a box. It's a Bellicor box. So, right. Is that a little bit of foam in there? Weird. But yeah, wargaming and tabletop has become a lot more of a vessel for being social. And I'd imagine that for a lot of other hobbies, it's the same. You go out and you go hunting so you can hang out with your buddies, or you go watch the games so you can hang out with your buddies. I play Warhammer now to hang out with my buddies. Having fun with rolling dice and showing off your cool minis is pretty sweet. It's definitely a plus. But getting that kind of series of emotions that you can only get from wargaming or cooperative or competitive sports of any kind is nice. It's pretty nice. I gotta say, as much as I like these little armor panels, I'm tired of seeing them pop up in the instructions. And my cat wants back out. That cat just wants me to let him outside. He is an indoor cat, and he will not survive out there. He is big and weak, and too trusting. Alright. One last armor piece. And I've only done like 3, and I don't know why they're frustrating me. I think it's just been so long since I did a video, and even longer since I've spoken for this long without really taking a pause for myself. Ooh. Right back to the wings sprue. Oh yeah, this is totally for the Fallen Chaos Warrior. Should have been a Sigmarite. I'd be pretty curious to see what the people, my viewers, people who have subbed to me, which thank you for that, despite going dark for several months, I still would get like a sub a day or see a comment every other day, and it's nice. People saying that they're watching, or someone just commented about the Primaris ATV and what a hunk of junk it is. I gotta agree with a lot of these push fit kits. I built Cursed City. Is that in there? She said I built Cursed City push fit, and thank goodness I've experienced with them, because man, some parts of that were rough. I would clip pretty much. Okay, this can't be right. No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Pretty much every peg on push fit kits, I'll clip kind of the tip off and try to make it a point so it'll go in easier. And I've noticed that in almost every push fit kit, the peg that goes in is like exactly the right depth to go all the way in to the hole, which is cool. Great planning. Problem is sometimes junk gets in there or a little bit of plastic folds on it when you're pushing it in and it doesn't want to go in all the way. Or there's a pocket of air, I don't know. It's a pain. I have found that just by clipping a little piece off and then angling it, it fits a lot easier. So I've been doing that forever, and it really did make building Cursed City a lot more easy. If they ended those pegs in rounded tips, I bet it would make building easy build kits easier. But, well, we're required to use easy build. I was going to say, super pro painters don't buy easy build, they buy the fancy stuff. But you can't buy a fancy stuff. Malignant plague. Blight hauler. Malefic blight hauler? Malignant blight hauler? Death Guard Tiny Roomba. Death Guard Big Roomba. There, now he's got one of his shoulder pads. Well, his only one. He's kind of a mishmash of armor. You can definitely see the spikes coming out of him. Almost reptile-like compared to the other ones where we've got Korn who's jacked and Zeech who's made of feathers. Now the head. I can't really express how happy I was to see this sculpt. Just excited. The emotions of seeing it. When Games Workshop or anyone redoes, well, I guess GW's like the only one I know of, redoes an old mini so perfectly, bringing it up to what's possible and just nails it. They nailed Be'lakor. Apparently there were 2 torso pieces. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for the different arm. I am losing it, man. Jeez. Let's get his tiny little face. Oh, we get 3 options. Okay, so 56, 58, and 60. Okay, so there's 3 different ways you can have his head. I'm going to go with the classic where he's sticking his tongue at you. One of them isn't numbered on the instructions. So 56 and 57 make that. 58 and 59 make this. That's 60. Oh man, what was it? Games Workshop released an errata for building something. Watch, it turns out to be Be'lakor. No, I can't remember. But yeah, I remember them saying, on Warhammer Community, they did an errata for instructions. And people gave him a hard time, but I was really happy to see it. Not happy to see they messed up, but happy to see they fixed it. And it reminded me that we live in a time where that's easy to do. Okay, I'm just going to build each of these heads and figure out which one I like the best look, or the best. What is this one? 59. Oh boy. Finding a tongue on a Be'lakor sprue. So tiny. Wait. There it is. So this will be his Kiss style head. For those who wargamed back before the internet is the super thing it was, and that's not even saying like, the 90s, but early 2000s, it was there, it was a thing, but it wasn't adopted by everyone. Games Workshop had their website, sure, but they didn't communicate like at all. Maybe that's more them as a company than anything else. Yeah, I don't like this one bit. That is him giving you the Gene Simmons. Is it Gene Simmons? The guy from Kiss with the long tongue. Here we go, 56. So classic Bellicor mini, you can Google him and see, kind of stuck his tongue out at you, just a little bit. Like, bleh. Like a kid would. Not like in a taunting way, but more like he's about to bite his tongue. And there was some reason they decided to keep that and give us the option to do a callback to the OG Mini, and I gotta do it. Whenever I have an option, I love doing that. There we go. Whoa, give me those tweezers again. It's been a long time since I did a mini where you really wanted tweezers. Okay, so yeah, that's not too bad. It's more of he's sticking his mouth open than sticking out his tongue. I dig it. It's callback, but it's not silly callback. Get out of here. Get these spare heads out of here. They make me sick. And then his horns are just one big old chunk. I don't know why I expected him to be like 8 pieces. Everything else is like 20 pieces. But definitely the iconic part of Bellicor is the horns. I'm kind of remembering back in the day his sword would just ignore. No armor saves may be taken allowed against this. So it was like invul only. That was the thing back then, was just, you don't get anything. And invul saves weren't a really big thing back then. Like, storm shields existed, but they weren't everywhere like they are now. So having something that just says, you don't get saves. I think characters had like a 5-up. Oh no. And I'm pretty sure that's his 40k rule, is you don't get saves Nightbringer style. And just straight up in there, huh? Yeah. I put the glue in all the wrong places. I'll have to work quick. You can definitely tell I'm getting tired because I stopped dry fitting a little while ago. And then we throw some glue all over this, like we don't care. And gently crown the first prince. And make his face come off. That is one cool demon prince. Oh, he's big dude. For scale, here's a 60mm base. So he's still about demon prince size. This is Alexi, I can't pronounce his name right now. It's a 3D print from Patreon. I'll put a link in the video to that Patreon. I love them. Just scaled it up a bit. He's a big dude, but not massive huge yet. When you throw him on his base, that's a lot. Honestly, he looks really cool even without the wings. He's very imposing. That pointing finger, sword down. Ooh, oh, that's cool. So, as Al would say, so butch, so manly. Turn of the page to the wings. So, I have decided that I am going to keep all of the chains separate, and I'm not going to bore you all with me clipping a bunch of chains out. I'm going to assemble the wings and probably call it for the night. Let this thing upload over the like 8 hours it's going to need because it just takes forever. It kills my bandwidth, so I upload it overnight and then I kick the video off the next morning. So I'm building this Tuesday and it'll probably go up Wednesday morning. I might make a fun little thumbnail with one of my cats too. We'll see how I feel. Instead of Joe builds it, maybe it'll be Beans builds it. Everyone loves Beans. He's such a good kitty. Be'lakor loves Beans. Sorry, I just had a thought of, all the different multi-god lists I've kind of fantasized about running. Demon models have so many cool things, and dang, it's been a while. 8th and 9th for demons kind of killed the unaligned because they give you some pretty good buffs for running mono god. And Nurgle, you get an okay one. Yeah, it's okay. You could give up a Nurgle one. A 6 to wound for Nurgle is +1 damage. Ooh. I mean, it's kind of nice now. Plague drones with a spell can still do 5 damage with no AP per swing. Very nice. Rerolling everything. But I do know that unaligned demons is definitely the competitive Chaos Demon thing. Too much for me to keep up with. Here we go. The fun part. I'm going to clip this hand off too. Anywho, cavalry is a weakness of mine. I love it. I own 27 plague drones. 27 plague drones. Metric buttload of Thunderwolf cavalry. 15 or so. I used to own 12 or so blood crushers. Oh, so cool. And I was collecting Seekers back when in 6th edition. I took a little break for a while and ow, dang, pinched myself. Ended up not keeping a lot of my other mixed god stuff. But man, seeing all that on the table, all the colors, and what's each got? Screamers? Not really cavalry, but it'll do. No, Exalted Flame? I don't know. Chariots. All the chariots. When's Nurgle getting a chariot? Seeing all that on the table is gonna be cool. Seeing some patterns coming up with Age of Sigmar stuff, allowing more to collectors, different ways to play. And the one that I am most familiar with is the Caradron Overlord's Barok Thring, I think it's pronounced, where 1 in every 4 units can be any Duardin. There's not hugest amount of synergy, but it's dang fun. What I played last weekend was, I think, 4 gyrocopters, not gyrocopters, 4 gun haulers, the little Arcanaut boats, not Arcanaut, Caradron boats, 4 units of Endrin riggers, 2 Endrin masters in dirigible suits, Gotrek, and a unit of 3 gyrocopters with steam guns. And I only ran Gotrek because I didn't really have time to get my stuff unpacked and repacked. And the first time I brought him was for the lulls. I've always wanted to use him, and I had a fresh, hot 500-something points to spare. He's a monster when he gets into combat. It's awesome. He's basically carried me through 2 games now, and I'll just bust him out for kicks and giggles. Maybe in that Triumphant Treachery. No, not for that. For Triumphant Treachery, I might do Be'lakor. Or just the other silly list, an Ironclad, 2 frigates, everything inside of them. Oh, that was a big mold line, but it came off really easy. There we go. Alright, let's get these wings attached, and then holy cow, they all need a ton of claws. This is a weird looking piece. Just super weird. Seems like a pretty straightforward attachment that is going to use a lot of glue. Time to flip it. I'm not going to do the lighter thing because I don't want to smell burning plastic cement all day. Whatever. I'm pretty sure my nose won't agree with hot plastic cement. Back when I started this, someone suggested heating up the tip to kill the clog with a lighter. And I'm sure it works. But I grew up with asthma, and I do not want to mess around with stuff like that. Fumes and I have a bad track record. There's a Java update. Let's do that. Oh, yeah, so like I said, I got a new camera. It's actually my old cell phone. I tried a few of my webcams around. They don't really do the close-ups like good old-fashioned cell phone. If any of you can suggest a good camera for recording, I've got a nice mic, and I'd love to get a better setup for this. I just don't know where to start, and whenever I Google it, I get some like sponsored article, and I don't know, it just seems like I trust you all more than a Google search. Or the results of a Google search. If that makes any sense at all. This piece does fit on really well. I'm impressed. Other kits where it's basically assembling wings, sometimes it can be a real hassle where the wing doesn't fit properly, or it's so long that it gaps here or there. I think having these pieces so tight, I don't know, we're getting the issue now at the bottom. I'll hold it here. Prevents it from doing exactly what just happened. So looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 12 little spikes to put on each wing. And then after that, each wing can have 1, 2, 3, 4? 4 different chain pieces. So 20 pieces are left in this kit. I'll do 12 of them. And it looks like there are 2 chains. We have different options. So I'm guessing Age of Sigmar with the crown, 40k with the weird laurel thing, Age of Sigmar with a skull with a crown, and 40k with another Primaris helm. Kind of sad that it's all Marines, though. I guess, well, no, we've got a Chaos Dude here, and, well, just some freaking humans, and that one Orc skull. Bellicor really hates Space Marines. Alright. Okay, so all of this is left. I'm going to get rid of the distracting pieces, which is the duplicates I won't be using, and throw it into my giant bits box, and then throw that pounds of bits, sell bits by the pound. Okay. What is that? Oh, hey, that goes on his wing. Alright. This is just cleaning that up is a little easier to work with. We're going to start with the left, and we're going to work our way up, because if I clip all of these off, they're all so similar, I know for a fact I will glue them in the wrong spot. Oh, this thing is going to be both amazing and terrible to paint, as all demons should. Oh, there we go. Nice and snug. Kind of. It's just an odd angle. Makes it hard to apply the pressure. And next. Oh, there's so many little pieces. I'll probably end up doing Be'lakor in a classic black, gray, maybe a little gray-blue here and there, but I am willing to bet we're going to see some amazing looking Be'lakors popping up soon. The Keeper of Secrets minis were a great example of just the most talented painters around doing amazing things, and I am very excited to see them. I'm just happy to have a mini painted to a quality that I want to show off. Winning awards for painting is cool, but it's not something I really see myself doing a lot of lately. Or, you know, any big stuff. Doing little, winning like painting comps at your local game store, it's so fun, it's nice. Going, seeing everyone there, if you get to, judging them, it's a grand time, and I highly suggest you all support your local game stores however you can. They're run by people like you and me, and it's definitely been hard times on them. Any help you can give them would be, I'm sure, well appreciated. And if it's not, you know, go somewhere else. Maybe I have fallen to a more casual style of play because Tuesday Warhammer isn't a thing anymore. So I can't really learn how to play in a competitive manner if I'm going to be cautious about my safety, which I am not going to take any chances, if possible, until everything is said and done. If there's a small chance of getting sick with the coronavirus, I am not going to take that chance. I have had both shots for over a few weeks now, and I had some friends over who had their shots. Like I was saying, had a bunch of vaccinated friends over. We played a 4,000 point team game of 40k, and man, it was just so wonderful. It really made me realize what I've been missing out this past almost year and a half. Probably it's gonna go on a year or two. But I don't know where I was going with that. I know basically every video of mine goes kind of dark. Or sour. I don't know if dark's the right word. Mopey. Depressed. I do miss hanging out with people. What is... Oh. I was going to say, what's that? But it's where the chains go. Alright, that's one wing down. Let it dry. Start up on the next, which is from 76 to 81. Aside from just 3D printing everything, which I don't remember if I ever showed it off, but I'm going to grab it and show it off after this, my Count as Sons of Behemoth army that I'm slowly working on between a surprisingly large amount of commissions, which is good because, you know, who doesn't need a little spare cash? How'd the other one go in there? There we go. I'm printing a super dark Realm of Death Sons of Behemoth army with mostly miniatures from the Bestarium Patreon, which if you've got a 3D printer, I'm using a I was using two Elegoo Saturns, but one of my screens got all nasty because I'm a Dauntus and never put a screen protector on it. I've got a replacement screen, screen protectors, and everything I will need to stay safe for my next few prints. But if you have a resin printer, definitely check them out. Heck, even if you've got like a little Ender 3 that's really tuned in, their stuff's great. And it's one of the few things I've painted in the past couple months. Where are we at? 78. You know, I'm just going to clip these as I see them. There's no real need to go in numerical order. And why? Why should we follow the rules? We're building the first Chaos Demon Prince. Following rules was never his style. Being invisible was his style. Where's another spike? Here we go, 81. Give me that. But I've been really engrossed with just 3D printing all sorts of stuff, and I started playing a few video games. That's been nice. Didn't do that for a long time because I was, Warhammer all the time. So, what have you guys been doing that isn't going out and, well, not right now. I mean, you might be in an area that's a lot more safe than mine. Oh, crud. What did I just clip? Left. This one. So in the time that you couldn't play Warhammer or see your friends, what did you do? What new hobbies did you learn about? Or old hobbies did you get good at? And do you still have a really big backlog, or did you paint everything? That's all that matters in life. Can't get into heaven if you have unfinished business. Finish your backlogs. Alright, buddy. It's time. Man, I am beating myself up about that. Oh. I'll probably put some plastic glue in there and wipe it down to try to make it merge a bit. Looks like I missed a mold line too. I should have done this as a two-parter. Let's see if I can clean that up a little. It's so visible. Oh, it's terrible. Alright, I can deal with my mistakes later. Whew. Big chunk to glue on. Just gonna goop that plastic glue out everywhere. Just look at the profile or the silhouette of this mini explode as we glue these giant wings on. These are beautiful wings too. Kind of Hive Tyrant-like. Bloodthirstery with the ribbed for winged pleasure look. Kind of a mix between the two. 3 claws up top. Pretty cool. Bam! Big dude got huge. And then we take a look at it again next to that 3D printed Demon Prince. He's still about the same size, but barely 2/3 in visibility, which thank goodness for those new 40k terrain rules. If it's 5 inches or taller, you can say it blocks line of sight to everything except aircraft and really big stuff. Oh man. That's cool. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. And the chains are just going to make it even cooler. Oh, yeah. Check Be'lakor out. This is so much cooler than I ever expected it to be, based on the pictures. Dang. Let me grab. So, before I sign off, this is going to be one of my Sons of Behemoth Giants, Mega Guardians, to show the aesthetic I'm going for. And Bestarium Miniatures has Bestiarium? Google it'll show up. I'm going for a much more high contrast look, to where the dark areas are very dark. That's achieved with black contrast. I airbrushed the whole thing. I think I did a wash over the whole thing. And then I did selected contrast areas and started bringing stuff out with the metal. So just a bunch of like undead. And here's a size comparison of with Bellicor. These giants are huge. Really nasty looking Sons of Behemoth army. Okay. Let's put this guy back. And before I go, one more thing. OG Bloodthirster. Just remember, your parents are the way they are because they had to play with this when they were kids. They did that so you could have this. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful week, weekend, evening, morning, whatever. Stay safe. Support your local game stores. Have a good one.